Hi, thanks for stopping by to watch me, Leah, cook kosher. Today I want to show you how to make Spanokopita, an all-time favorite on the buffets, of course, or for tray past appetizers, and a wonderful item for your table. Let me show you how. So to make our Spanokopita, we're going to need a box of Fillo dough. I prefer to buy the long length, and of course that comes frozen in your grocery case. We're going to need spinach, about a pound, and I will explain more about that in a second. We're going to need a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 egg, a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese, and a 1/2 cup of feta cheese that has been crumbled. So let's start by opening our package of Fillo. Now, we don't want to make Spanokopita with the whole long, wide roll. And I don't want to unroll it before I cut it. Let me show you what I mean. I have the length, and by the way, this comes in shorter length these days, which I'm not so crazy about. I like buying the long one and then cutting it into thirds. All right, now that I have my Fillo cut, I'm just going to set it aside while we make our filling. Oh, and by the way, if you need the ingredients, just go to my website, leahcookskosher.com, and you'll find the recipe either on the home page or in the recipe archives. No worries, it's all right there. Wow, look at my spinach. Let's face it, this isn't really attractive at the moment, but let me tell you what we did. This was 1 pound of baby spinach, and what I was taught by Catherine Sharon, again my mentor in all things Sephardic, is that before spinach is used, it's often left out overnight to wilt and dry out so that the finished product isn't runny with so much water, because there is of course so much water in spinach. So I've let that sit out, and as you can see it's wilted down, but that's just fine. But we do need to cut it. So I just take a big handful, and I like the baby spinach because of it's a little more tender. And I'm just going to rough chop that so that when I start to add my other ingredients, I have smaller pieces to work with. Okay, so we'll just put that in our bowl, and we'll just make quick work of chopping this up. So now we have our spinach, but as you can see, if this were still fresh, it'd be really full. All right, let's add the rest of our ingredients. A sprinkle of black pepper, our 1 egg, Parmesan cheese, and our crumbled feta. I'll just take my spatula and beat that egg a little bit in here, and then continue to mix these ingredients. All we want to do is give it a quick toss to evenly coat and get the cheese spread out throughout that spinach. That's enough. Now we're going to be ready to roll out our triangles. And by the way, a key tip in cooking: keep your space clean. Work clean, I always say. Even in the catering business, it's so much more efficient. Okay, that's a tip. We're going to take one of our Fillo dough rolls. We're going to unwrap it, and I always pray that it's a box that is really fresh so that the sheets don't stick together. Find the middle here. Okay, so we're going to lift one sheet and put it down, going away from you, and we'll just factory style line up a few more. Now, the box will tell you to, while working with Fillo, to keep it covered with a damp cloth. I find that if I simply just roll it back up in that same plastic, it'll be good until I'm ready to use the next pieces. So I have my Fillo in front of me, and I'm going to take my brush, and this is canola oil. You can use olive oil if you want. And I'm just going to brush a thin layer on the top there. I think in the catering kitchen I would reach for a much wider pastry brush, but this is what I've got here. So yeah, I tend to do things what I always call factory style. It goes a little faster. You don't have to worry if your phyllo breaks, because we can just patch it up as we're rolling it. No worries there. Okay, I have a light coating of oil, and I'm going to start. I want these strips actually narrower, but I do want to use that much phyllo in each one. So I like to roll them away from me on one side, just bring it in about an inch, and that will make the final triangle narrower. I don't want to be tray passing these really giant pieces. All right, and now I simply reach in. I'm going to grab about a tablespoonful of the spinach and cheese mixture and just put it on the end that's closest to me. After a few thousand, you'll get the feel of how much to grab at a time. And then again, working closest to me and then away, I'm going to bring one corner up and fold it so I have this triangle shape, and then I roll. Now, I can't emphasize enough how light you work in the kitchen with the fingers. I always say romance it. Everybody's always laughing at me, but we just want to have a real delicate feel when we're working our doughs. Okay, so we just roll it up like that. So again, the triangle, straight, triangle, straight, triangle, straight, and then we just roll it up. And if it breaks apart, like I know the next one will, I'll show you, all you have to do is pick it up and move it. See, that was cracked? I'm just going to pick it up, place it back down, and continue rolling, because nothing's going to stop me in the kitchen. Okay? Now, take my sheet pan, and they do need a little room to puff, but they're not going to spread. So we can put them about an inch apart, just like that. Okay, so I'm just going to keep rolling, finish off my phyllo. But it is a repetitive process, so basically there isn't a whole lot more to show you at this point. We also have done these using a meat filling, an eggplant filling. You know, you basically can roll up anything you like. And all these layers that we're creating as we roll the pastry up, that's going to give it that light, airy, flaky crust on the outside. As you go along, depending on how long it takes you to roll all this up, the filling will start to wilt a little more. So it's important to just sort of get a feel for how much you're putting on, not judging it by what it looks like, but how much it feels like. And we just keep rolling. So after a while, it becomes an actual rolling rather than a methodical fold. You can just kind of roll, roll, roll. The trick I use so I can get more of them onto a pan is I alternate the points into each other. So I can probably get 16, but I'm going to keep working until I finish my phyllo and my spinach. So I put half of them into the freezer, or a little more than half, and to finish them off, we just brush with olive oil, and then I'm going to give it a quick sprinkling of the cheese. And that's the big mystery. Another simple, easy, savory appetizer to make for your party. There you go. And all we need to do is get those into the oven. I'm going with 375 degrees until they have a nice golden brown color. but I'm going to turn them midway so that we have even coverage. I'm going to start for about 10 minutes, okay? I'll see you back here. Oh, wow. These are looking great. As you can see, the corners have a nice golden brown color. The cheese is nice and golden. Wow, these smell fabulous. I'm just going to set them there to cool and we'll platter them up in a bit. Look at these beautiful packets of phyllo dough. And inside, look at that. Beautiful spinach, feta, parmesan in a nice, delicate phyllo crust. Doesn't get any better than this, really.